Coming up on Beach TV News, it was the shouting match heard around the world. After being kicked out of the White House, Ukraine's president is now getting a boost of support from leaders in Europe. Can the Ukraine and the US relationship heal from the blowout, or will the US cut off all aid to Ukraine? Plus, highly contagious measles have made a comeback. Recent outbreaks in Texas and pop-up cases in the states across the country are sounding alarms and reigniting vaccine debates once again. And the 97th Academy Awards took place over the weekend. We've got everything you need to know about Hollywood's biggest night and its biggest winners. All that and more next.
Beach TV News starts now.
Welcome to this edition of Beach TV News. I'm Carla Valdez.
And I'm Bruce Kuntz. Beach TV News is brought to you by the broadcast journalism students at Cal State Long Beach. We begin tonight with breaking news coming from the White House. The United States is pausing military aid to Ukraine and threatens to cut it if Ukraine's president doesn't issue an apology. A recent meeting in the Oval Office between U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky turned into a shouting match, and the Ukrainian leader was asked to leave the White House. The U.S. has been instrumental in supplying Ukraine with weapons and money to fight back against Russia in their war. According to CNN, White House officials said the aid could be restored if Zelensky was willing to negotiate directly with Russia to end the war. Officials also say President Trump is looking for Zelensky to issue a public apology.
Now over to the other breaking story. The cost of cars and groceries could go up soon, according to mainstream economists. And they say it's due to new tariffs the White House plans to impose. President Trump confirmed just moments ago that a 25% tariffs on Mexican and Canadian imports goes into effect tonight at midnight. An additional 10% will be tacked on Chinese goods. Soon after the announcement, the Dow Jones average tanked 650 points at closing, and the S&P posted the worst day in the year. The Trump administration argues that these tariffs will stimulate U.S. production. President Trump says he's using them to punish countries that have taken from the U.S. economy without giving enough in return.
President Trump's tariffs aren't the only thing making waves since he's been back in office, and tensions around the country are running high. Our reporter Liz Hanna is here in the studio with more. Liz?
Thank you, Bruce. So far, President Trump's second round in the White House has been full of action, with flurries of executive orders from the Oval Office down to shouting matches in small towns as citizens fight for rights they fear are at risk. And some of these recent orders are making their historical debuts.
For the first time in U.S. history, the country will have an official language. Following Trump's recent executive order, more than 30 states have already designated English as their official language, but this now cements it on the national level. A Clinton-era mandate for agencies to provide language assistance to non-English speakers is canceled by the new order, but doesn't prevent agencies from continuing to offer help to the 20% of households whose primary language isn't English. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds has signed a bill removing state civil rights protections from its transgender and non-binary citizens. The bill removes gender identity as a protected class. Hundreds of protesters flooded the State House rotunda with signs and chants opposing the move. This development makes Iowa the first U.S. state to gut these protections from its Civil Rights Act, leaving the LGBTQ+ community more vulnerable to discrimination.
If I wasn't in Congress, I'd be yelling at the TV at home.
Across the country, overflowing town hall meetings have erupted in outbursts of frustration and anger aimed at what many consider rushed and callous federal layoffs, budget cuts, and aid freezes.
IRS, I've seen others that's 100.
Local citizens are pleading with their representatives to fight back against Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. DOGE has been under scrutiny for its heavy-handed gutting of programs and jobs, some that have been met with lawsuits or even put on hold by federal courts.
As town halls continue to see face-offs between representatives and their constituents, constant news keeps pumping down the pipeline from the White House. Stay with us at Beach TV News as we keep you updated on the changes that could affect you. Back to you at the news desk.
Thanks, Liz. Well, Tesla owners are pushing back against the government, and they're taking it out on Elon Musk's wallet. Sales of Tesla Model 3 dropped 33% across all European countries, reaching a 60% decline in both Germany and France. Meanwhile, European and Chinese automakers are taking this opportunity to steer drivers to their EV cars. Many drivers are protesting against the Tesla brand and Musk's new role in U.S. politics. Car industry specialists say it's too early to know how big of a hit the luxury electric car brand has taken.
President Donald Trump's approval rating has taken a dip since his January return to the White House. Trump is preparing to address Congress for the first time in his second term, and according to a new poll from CNN, 52% of Americans disapprove of President Trump's performance as he heads into his congressional address. Many Trump voters are expected a hard focus on the economy, but prices have continued to climb over the first 2 months of 2025. Many believe the president should focus on the economy as promised, instead of focusing on other areas, including dismantling DEI initiatives and funding cuts and mass layoffs of federal workers.
Now, over to the Carolinas, where more than 100 fires have erupted across North and South Carolina, burning over 5,000 acres in areas still recovering from the devastation of Hurricane Helene, the largest fire taking place near the popular vacation spot Myrtle Beach. Dry air and vegetation due to lack of rainfall is in the area had fueled flames, but luckily no structures have been destroyed and no signs of injuries. The fire stands at 30% contained, and Governor Henry McMaster declared a state of emergency. Dozens of fire agencies are working with county crews to continue battling the sweeping wildfire.
And in Texas, a highly contagious disease has made a comeback, and new cases are now popping up in other states. A measles outbreak has caused at least 146 cases in western Texas. 79 of the sick are unvaccinated, and the status of an additional 62 is unknown. An unvaccinated school-aged child died after being hospitalized and testing positive for the measles. It was the first U.S. death caused by the disease in a decade. The 2-dose vaccine has a 97% rate of efficacy. Head in the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and vocal critic of childhood vaccines, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is urging people to get the vaccine to help stop the spread.
You know what else is on the rise? Rent prices. Californians have seen an increase in their monthly payments every year. I went around downtown Long Beach to get some insight on what locals think about this issue.
As you may recall from last year's presidential election, Californians had a say on the state propositions. One of the key measures on the ballot was Proposition 33, which enables government authority to enact more rent control on residential property. Those who voted yes on this measure meant that California law would remove the state limits on local rent control policies, while a no vote kept those limits in place. Now, what do local residents have to say about this issue?
I think that it should be some type of cap on it, because you can't increase the price of living, every year, because sometimes it's out of control.
Rent increases are limited by state law. It prohibits most landlords from raising a tenant's rent by more than 5% plus inflation in a single year.
You see a different side of things when you're an owner of property and assets, and you have to pay taxes and you have overhead and different things, and you have to maintain your property versus somebody that rents. And I think, when I was a renter, and a lot of renters don't realize how much it costs, especially if you have a mortgage, you have to upkeep your property, legal stuff. There's a lot that goes into it.
Consistent rent allows landlords to plan for expenses like maintenance and property taxes more effectively. But about 1/4 of Californians live in a community with local rent control. But for some, that is still more money than they are comfortable spending on rent each month.
Increased rent and everything is increasing here. California is very expensive.
Rent in California is about 50% higher than in other states, and in some areas, it's more than double the national average. The main reason being that California does not have enough housing for everyone who wants to live here. That's why the price of living is so high. Reporting from Long Beach, Carla Valdez, Beach TV News.
It's time for a quick break, but still to come. The Lakers are playing some of their best basketball in years. What's behind their recent hot streak? Plus, our reporter takes you inside a new shop in Whittier where trendy collectibles are flying off the shelves. Those stories coming up next.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill? No. You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl, it's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kids should know.
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
you're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. Remember the best planned 90 minutes of your life? Or that surprise party for your parents' golden anniversary? You get the golden planning. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Now here's a huge red flag. As the U.S. continues to fire hundreds of federal employees, foreign governments are taking notice and are attempting to recruit them. BTVN reporter Ivan Ruiz has this story and more. Ivan?
Thanks, Bruce. Could foreign agents be recruiting disgruntled Americans to gather intelligence? It sounds like the plot right out of a movie, right? But the U.S. government is confirming it's true. So what will they do about it? Foreign adversaries China and Russia are targeting recently fired or at-risk federal workers. NCIS information has determined that foreign officers are searching for potential recruits who have recently been let go as part of the mass federal worker purge. U.S. intelligence has reported these employees are being reviewed via LinkedIn, TikTok, RedNote, and even Reddit, focusing on those who indicate they are open to work. Sources in the White House say these employees are at their most vulnerable and can be easy targets in order to recruit on opposing sides. The hostage prisoner swap between Israel and Hamas continues. This past week, Hamas returned the bodies of 4 Israeli hostages held in Gaza, prompting Israel to release 643 Palestinian hostages in return, but only after the 4 Israeli bodies were properly identified, which delayed the release process. This last gesture comes at the tail end of the first phase of the ceasefire agreement, with no word on plans of extending Phase 1 or moving on to Phase 2. A second plane with deportees has landed in San Jose, Costa Rica. The flight carrying 65 deported migrants from the U.S. landed early last week. According to the Central American Nations Migration and Foreigners Office, 16 of those deported were accompanied minors. 35 of the remaining passengers were adults. The migrants were bused to a temporary attention center where they will receive care. Costa Rican government gave no details on the definitive plans for the migrants. With more federal worker layoffs on the horizon, it's important to keep an eye on this developing situation. Now back to the news desk.
Thanks, Ivan. From the ocean to your tap, microplastics are everywhere. And while some of us can't see them, scientists in Long Beach are on a mission to uncover just how much is hiding in our drinking water. Our reporter Tanisha Bukad explains.
Nothing like a refreshing sip of water. Except I might have swallowed tiny bits of plastic. Yep, that's a thing now. Scientists say microplastics are in our water, our food, and maybe even in us.
Microplastics are tiny but growing concern. These nearly invisible particles are showing up in oceans, food, and even our drinking water. In Long Beach, the Moore Institute for Plastic Pollution Research is one of the first labs in California accredited to test for microplastics in water, and California is among the few states leading the way.
Microplastics have been found in different places throughout the body. There was even one study that showed that there might be the ability for a mother to locate the microplastics from her system into the fetus.
To find these plastics, the lab filters the water through fine mesh to catch solid particles. If they're sand, they use density separation. Since plastics are lighter than sand, they float while heavier particles sink. Then the samples are analyzed with a special machine called the FTIR that identifies the type of plastic.
And we have a device called the tap trap that we can screw onto those outlets and determine how much water is in there. And we're just going through a beta test right now. We just finished the instructional video.
While the Moore Institute works to track microplastics in our water, the real question is, what will we do with what they find?
And I think our cities, our organizations need to do a better job of informing us about our drinking water.
The bad news, microplastics are pretty much everywhere. The good news, what we do next is still up to us. Reporting from Long Beach, I'm Tanisha Bugad, Beach TV News.
The Lakers continue to ride high on their impressive win streak, and the NFL is introducing a new technology to speed up the game. For these stories and more, let's go to Brian Chavez with the latest from the world of sports.
Thank you, Bruce. We are so lucky to have so many talented teams in Los Angeles. Let's tip things off with the Lakers.
We start at Crypto Arena, where the Lakers face the Clippers twice this weekend. Both games went the Lakers' way, winning 102-106 on Friday and 102-108 on Sunday afternoon. Luka Doncic continued his impressive start with the Lakers, scoring a total of 60 points and providing 14 assists over the two games. The Lakers are now second in the West and are in a 6-game winning streak, making a good contention run for the playoffs. We now go to Pauley Pavilion, where UCLA hosted USC for the women's Big Ten regular season title. The Trojans used no horse this game as Juju Watkins started the game hot, scoring 13 points in the first quarter. UCLA could not gain momentum and struggled all night, making only 5 out of 23-point attempts. For USC, this is the first time in their history they've ever clinched the regular season title. Both teams are now focused on the Big Ten tournament. Now let's take a look at the Los Angeles Kings as they head on the road to face off the St. Louis Blues. The Kings scored first but were not able to endure the physicality from the Blues, as the Kings only tallied 1 goal in the first quarter. Both goalies had a busy night, but it was the Blues goalie Jordan Binnington who kept the game on his shoulders, allowing only 1 goal from 26 shots against him. The Kings will need to pick up some momentum as they sit only 5 points above wildcard qualification.
We have a lot of action to look forward to. With the MLS kicking off and the MLB just around the corner, there will be plenty more to talk about. But in the meantime, let's dive in the latest news from the NFL. The NFL is looking to speed things up, and no, not just on the play clock. The league is planning on implementing new microchips within football that will create less delay in between plays. Right now, the NFL relies on measurements from the chain crew to determine first downs. By removing the chain gang from the equation, these new microchips will help officials make faster, more accurate decisions when spotting the ball. This technology has already been tested and could be seen on the field as early as next season with this new tech. The ball can make the call. And it's official, Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis confirmed he won't be retiring this offseason. After months of speculation, the 3-time Super Bowl champ could be calling a career. We finally have our answer. The news came directly from the 35-year-old superstar in a text to Pat McKeefe saying that he was left with a bad taste in his mouth with how he played in the last game and that he can't go out like that. Kelsey, of course, was referring to the Super Bowl loss he and the Chiefs suffered against the Eagles last month. He managed 4 catches for only 39 yards in the game, with Kelsey officially announcing his return for 2025. He is set to enter his 13th and possibly final season in the NFL. That does it for me. Back to you guys at the news desk.
Well, there you have it. Kelsey is not retiring.
I'm sure a lot of Swifties are happy to hear that. Coming up after a short break.
Coming up after a short break, the ratings for Hollywood's biggest night are in, Find out how the Oscars went from underwhelming to reaching a 5-year all-time high in viewers. Plus, the Roaring Twenties are coming to Long Beach. Our reporter gives us a sneak peek on the razzle-dazzle. These stories and more up next.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. Of course, it's awkward to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping. Hey, bestie, how sketch is vaping? It's hard to get their attention. Ready? Go. Yes, look at that. You didn't turn yours over. So if you want to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping, you have to get it trending. Right, Backpack Kid?
Let's do it.
First, invite your kid to do the vape talk. Let's try this. All right.
Why is he here?
Yeah, I gotta get it trending, honey.
Come on.
To the left. To the right. Let's go.
Oh, honey, can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
I see a lot of your friends vaping.
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What?
I can't drive.
Why?
I'm high.
Oh.
They're cute, they're collectible, and now they're bringing fans together in person. A new toy store is giving Sunny Angel lovers a place to trade and make sure their collections are the real deal. Yasmin Poot has the scoop on this growing community.
Hi, I'm in Whittier, California at Pick a Party, where the party just started. Have you ever wondered what's inside of these boxes? Well, follow the story for more. A top-selling collector's doll, Sunny Angels are sold in blind boxes, so you never know which one you'll get. They were created by Toru Sueya, who was inspired by the classic American Cupid doll. Today, blind boxes have grown in popularity and are being sold in toy stores like Pick a Party, that is owned by Carla Diaz and Graham Barnard.
My favorite thing is like the rush of pulling like rare ones or secret ones. I think that's probably the best part. And then going to like trading events and trading or selling with other people is really cool too.
Yeah, me, it's like that gambling, the serotonin in your brain, like it releases. I'm like, and that's what it is.
A growing online community to trade Sunny Angels is one hobby mom and son Devin enjoy doing together.
Sunny Angels, like I have a big collection in my room. I just love them so much. So I don't know, they just bring me joy.
Pick a Party began with selling in a swap meet and have since grown and opened their doors in Whittier. They have always been big on building their Sunny Angel collector community by offering an online space where they can trade Sunny Angels without fearing the trade of fake Sunny Angels.
People can meet up outside with the tables and also through the online too. So people, if they get something that they don't want, people can buy it from the live and then we can ship it out to them.
As the popularity of Sunny Angels continues to grow with lines forming out the door for blind boxes, Pick a Party is starting something no other toy store has done, and that is now offering in-person trading events for anyone who wants to trade and talk about their love for Sunny Angels. They look forward to keeping their online community present as much as they can and are looking forward to building an in-person community. From Whittier, California, this is Yasmin Poot with Beach TV News.
Well, Hollywood rolled out the red carpet for the 97th Academy Awards, and it was a night to remember. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande kicked things off with a show-stopping, gravity-defying tribute to the cinematic world of Oz. The big winner? Anora, which stole the spotlight with 5 wins, including Best Director and Best Picture. In a shocker, 25-year-old Mikey Madison took home Best Actress, leaving the room gasping as many expected Demi Moore to win. No Other Land won Best Documentary for its gripping take on the destruction of the West Bank. Its directors used the stage to call for an end to the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. A night of glitz, surprises, and statements, just the way Hollywood likes it. Hollywood's Oscars may be over, but the star power is just getting started. From an all-women crew blasting off to space, the big news is the Shrek universe. Cynthia, what's the buzz?
A chilling mystery at a Hollywood legend's home has been finally solved. An all-women crew is gearing up for a space adventure, and Zendaya's Shrek debut has fans buzzing, but the animation, not so much. Let's take a look at what's happening this week.
Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, were found decomposing in their New Mexico home. After a thorough investigation led by suspicious circumstances, the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office has determined that Hackman died of heart disease a week after Arakawa died of hantavirus, which is a virus linked to rodents. Authorities say Hackman had advanced Alzheimer's, and it is possible he did not notice his wife had died. On less unfortunate news, Jeff Bezos' aerospace company Blue Origins will send an all-women crew into space in spring of 2025. Among the 6 crew members are Katy Perry, CBS Morning co-host Gayle King, and Bezos' fiancée Lauren Sanchez. This will mark the first all-female flight crew since 1963. The mission will be led by Sanchez, and she says the mission is about challenging perspectives of Earth, empowering women to share their stories, and creating a lasting impact. From space to the entertainment world, Zendaya will be voicing Shrek's daughter in Shrek 5. Although there's no details in the storyline, it will be released on December 2026. The news was shared through a 15-second sneak peek. Most fans were fond of the idea that Zendaya is joining the Shrek cast. However, the internet quickly called out the new animation and say something looks off. Memes are spread all over the internet comparing Shrek to the Sonic movie.
Fans are loving Zendaya's casting, but the animation has some people less than thrilled. Will the petition lead to a redesign, or will it all be forgotten once the movie hits theaters? Only time will tell. Back to you guys at the news desk.
Grab your tickets and follow the spotlight to Long Beach's theater for a dazzling performance of The Great Gatsby.
That's right. We can thank the World Ballet Company for the razzle-dazzle. BTVN reporter Victoria Franco has more.
I'm here at the Barclay Theater in Irvine, where people are lining up to immerse themselves back into the roaring 20s as the World Ballet opens their show of The Great Gatsby.
The newest jazz-filled ballet show just debuted here in California, and it is already gaining attention as the show makes its way through Orange County.
Right now, 500 is pretty much average on every ballet show we get.
With the company's motto that ballet is for everyone, their shows are set to tour in cities with less access to ballet, with the goal of introducing the art form to new people. I caught up with both new and regular ballet goers to hear their thoughts on the new show.
I always love the theater, so I always try to make it as often as possible, and I've never been to this particular theater.
So I'm excited to see how this one goes, and I don't know too much about The Great Gatsby, so I can't wait to learn more about the story.
The show ran for 2 hours with a 20-minute intermission, and the venue offered both bar service and merchandise for purchasing. Although the jazz-filled show is only in California till early March, you can continue to catch them in other cities as they make their way through the U.S. Tickets vary from $30 to $200. To find a location and date that works for you, visit the World Ballet website and find out about future shows as well. Reporting from Irvine, this is Victoria Franco, Beach TV News.
Wow, I will definitely be heading to the theater. And on that note, we end this edition of Beach TV News. I'm Carla Valdez.
And I'm Bruce Kuntz. Remember, you can be part of the conversation. Head over to our social apps at Beach TV News and let us know what you think about tonight's stories.
From all of us at BTVN, good night, Long Beach.